everybody, we're going to start. Thank you all for being here. We have a great forum. Everybody knows we have the 3 mayoral candidates tonight. And as we begin every meeting, I'd like everybody to just please stand and join me enthusiastically as we face the flag and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. All right, as some of you may have guessed, tonight we're not going to have any actual business, association business. We're going to try to get right to the business at hand, which of course is to be reintroduced to the candidates for mayor. So the first candidate that will be introducing himself tonight, you probably have heard of him. He started off in the city of Waterbury. You may have known him from the police department, although you may not know which position. He started off as a patrolman, got a promotion here, a promotion there. Next thing you know, he's our chief of police. Later on, he goes out to the town of Wolcott, becoming the chief of police. And then, of course, he convinced the Democratic Party that he can take on the 6-year incumbent mayor and get more votes. They agreed. He went for it, and obviously we've elected him. So please, my honor to introduce the Honorable Mayor O'Leary.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. You hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got 2 minutes to do an opening remark. So first of all, I'd like to just start out by thanking all of you for being here. I take a great deal of pride in coming to the Town Plot Neighborhood Association meetings, having spent a lot of years growing up here, and also commending all of you for your continued commitment to this very important neighborhood to our city. So I took over in December 1st of 2011. And, you know, it would be just my luck. It's the absolute worst economy in our lifetime. And then we were faced with another situation that I had no control over, and that was called revaluation. And we put out a series of informational articles in the paper, hoping that you all would be able to come to an understanding as to why we had to do the revaluation. It's state mandated. The last revaluation before 2012 was 2007. It's every 5 years. Because of the horrific economy, both nationally and statewide, property values plummeted, especially in areas of the city that were more challenged, if you will. Those downturns and those property valuations had negative impacts on many. Some people did see their taxes go down, and some people saw their taxes go up. The only thing I can tell you is that we do, I think, if they ever open up the government again, we do believe the economy is on the verge of turning. Instead of waiting 5 years to do another revaluation,
30 seconds, Mayor.
we will, if I'm reelected, we'll be doing another revaluation in 2015. Not waiting the 5 years, because I think some of you have been hurt unnecessarily by the plummeting properties in other sections of the city. I'll tell you more about that later.
All right, thank you. And our next candidate here that we'll be introducing went to Waterbury State Technical College, which of course is now Naugatuck Valley Community College, as an electrical engineer. He was self-employed. He was also a manufacturing specialist, a production manager, operations manager, a materials manager, information technology manager. He holds not 1 but 2 patents. He also was on the Charter Revision Commission, Retirement Board Commission, currently on the Greenway Advisory Commissioner, and also he was on the Board of Aldermen. He's the current chairman, treasurer, and co-founder of the Independent Party, and he was also endorsed as the Democrat for controller and a mayoral candidate once before for the Democrats and for the Independent Party and for the town clerk. And he's currently a member of Liga Sicilia, the BPOE Elks Club 265, Knights of Columbus, 3rd degree, Mohawk Civic Club, Town Plot Neighborhood Association, Waterville Community Club, and several other organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Larry DePillo.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to be with you tonight. Recently, my friends and I celebrated our 50th Our Lady of Mount Carmel School class reunion. I rose to be a Life Scout leader for Troop 28 in this very hall. I remember the stewardship of Monsignor Flynn and his guidance for Tom Platt's youth. My roots and the making of my character are from Tom Platt, and my mom and siblings still live here. Waterbury's keystone is loyalty to family and friends. You know the issues that face us: high taxes, security, good-paying middle-class jobs, a less vibrant downtown, and an ever-growing number of blighted properties, questionable education opportunities for our children. But I steadfastly believe in you and what we can accomplish together. The O'Leary administration has touted Waterbury's water supply as our most valuable asset. It is. But we have squandered that asset, the very catalyst needed to create the good-paying middle-class jobs that our residents desperately need. If I had $1 for every resident who told me they kept the bottle of Waterbury water we handed out in 2005, I would have a bundle of money. But the bottle represented the beverage industry, one of a multitude of water-based industries that could create viable jobs here. But 8 years and 4 elections later, still nothing. Manufacturing jobs expand our tax base, give investors a reason to invest in our downtown, in our housing, and in our education systems. This election is about you, your needs, your satisfaction with the present leadership, and when you need help, I'm always a phone call away. When politicians ignore you, I take the time to answer your calls. I stand by your side, and I do so because of my commitment to you in the city. I want to bring the loyalty that I've shown you for 30 years to the mayor's office. I need your help, and my team needs your vote on November 5th. Thank you.
Introduce the fellow. Our next candidate here is a commissioner on the Board of Education. He was previously a commissioner of the 2010 Charter Revision, and also he's a lifelong resident of Waterbury, father of 2. Director of Marketing at Opticare Eye Health and Vision Center. He lives in Bunker Hill, graduate of Connecticut State University and Sacred Heart School right here in Waterbury. And he is on the board of directors at the Palace Theater. He's a member of the Elks Club, Lodge 265, member of the Bunker Hill Neighborhood Association. He's also communicant of Our Lady of Loretto Church, and it's my honor to introduce Mr. Jason Van Stone.
Thank you very much, everybody. I'd like to thank the Town Plot Neighborhood Association for hosting us tonight and allowing us to come before you and speak a little bit about our ideas and what we think we could do for the people of Waterbury. As you may have noticed, I'm fighting a bit of a cold, so luckily for you, I'm going to keep my answers extra short tonight so I can keep my voice throughout this entire evening. As was told, my name is Jason Van Stone. I'm a commissioner on the Board of Education. I also chair the Finance Committee and the Buildings and Grounds Committee for that board. I've been serving on there a little over 3 years now. In that position, I have done all I can to help foster a good educational environment for our children, as well as keep costs down. Because I think sometimes that is something we clearly need to do here in Waterbury. As you each know, as you're sitting around your tables, working in your monthly budgets, times are tough. I'm not telling anyone anything they don't already know. I think some of those principles that we have when we're sitting there with our own personal finances are things that we need to do here in the city. People hear about spending cuts, they tend to worry about some kind of drastic slashes that are going to hurt the citizens. There are things we can do in this city to trim the budget, to lower taxes on good people like you, who are struggling each and every month to make those things happen. As we go through tonight, I'll explain some more of the specific things that we're going to look to do to help trim those taxes, put some money back in your own pockets, so together we can all have a little bit brighter future for the people of Waterbury and the children that we will leave behind us. As it was mentioned, I'm a father of 2 young people. 30 seconds ago. My 2 children, I want to make sure I leave a vibrant Waterbury. Too many kids my age now are moving out to the outskirts, to the Wolcott's, the Prospects, and the Watertowns of the world, because they don't think there's anything here for them. I think we still have the opportunity to save Waterbury, to make sure that it's a place that our children want to grow up in. And that's the reason I'm up here tonight on this stage. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Incidentally, I neglected to mention that And I will respectfully refer to you, Mr. Mayor, as Candidate O'Leary, hopefully for the duration of the meeting. Candidate O'Leary is running on the Democratic ticket, and candidate DePillo is running on the independent ticket, and candidate Van Stone is running on the Republican ticket. Sounds like you've already done this, so I appreciate it, but please, if you have any audible devices, please turn those audible devices off at this time. Now, the candidates are aware of the groundwork for the forum. I'm going to apologize in advance if there's any hiccups because we've had some challenges, and of course, we haven't done this in many years. Certainly, our current management here hasn't done that. So we're going to rotate. We're going to start with candidate O'Leary again to answer the first question. And this question is that with the high taxes continue to make Waterbury unaffordable for many folks, especially seniors. Many of these people have actually made Waterbury what it is today. And unfortunately, they cannot afford to live in this city any longer. And so not all of these are going to be in the form of a question, but these are all professionals up here, and they're going to respond to that question. Candidate O'Leary, please.
Well, there's no question. I think all of us recognize that the taxes are higher here in the city. I would just like to remind all of you that I've been the mayor for 22 months, and it took a long time to get here. You know, the taxes here in the city are high for several reasons, but mostly, quite frankly, it's because of what happened from all the years of sins in the past. That's why the state brought in the Oversight Board in 2001. And that's why everyone worked so hard to keep the city from the bankruptcy peril that it was in. And quite frankly, the last 10 years have been good for the city in many ways as far as getting our fiscal house in order. But again, look, I don't have control over the national economy or the state economy, but I can tell you what we do have control over the last 22 months is spending. And we have reduced spending. Your budget for this fiscal year is a 0% increase over last year. 0. That has never, ever happened in the city of Waterbury history that we're aware of. The year before, it was less than a 1% increase in a budget. I only had control over 6 months because I got sworn in on December 1st. So since I've been here for 22 months, we are flat on spending. Flat. Now, quite frankly, the revaluation and the property value declination or decline in the property value has everything to do with where your taxes are today. That's why I firmly believe when the economy turns, we'll be in a better place. And that's why I believe that instead of doing the revaluation every 5 years, in order to give you folks the relief that I think you desperately deserve, is we need to do a revaluation in 2014 and implement it in 2015 to give you the relief that you deserve. Thank you.
I'm going to repeat the question. This time it will be for candidate DePillo. The high taxes continue to make Waterbury unaffordable for many folks, especially the seniors. And these are many people who helped to make Waterbury what it is today. And unfortunately, they cannot afford to live in the city any longer. Mr. DePillo.
Thank you. My mom is a senior. My aunts are a senior in the city. And I know how much they're struggling to pay their taxes because they're all on fixed incomes, Social Security. There's no doubt that the seniors in the city are having a hard time. Just go around the city and look at the homes. The beautiful homes were once on plot. The people who are living here, their income and what they pay in taxes has been zapped so badly that they can't even afford to paint on their homes anymore or to do basic maintenance. You know, the mayor talks about spending. Well, you know, what hasn't happened is spending has not been cut. And as a matter of fact, because of the shift in revaluation this year, $6 million was added to the grand list. That's a $6 million tax increase to you, the taxpayers, that you could little afford. And I am very, very much aware of the taxes, my mom, and what I actually have to pay in my neighbors. Look, something has to be done. Whenever a mayor gets elected, they talk about economic development, how they're going to bring that development to the city and help you, the citizens, with jobs and by increasing the grand list and lowering the amount of money that you have to pay. Well, the talk is cheap. And as I said, in 2005, we brought the beverage to you. We had the company that was already looking to come here, Nestle's. But you know what? It's never about what's good for Waterbury. it's unfortunately about who's going to get the credit and which politician came up with the idea. I'm not interested in who comes up with the idea. I'm interested in creating jobs and economic opportunities so we can truly drive down the mill rate and allow our seniors to live their lives after they provide such a good one to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Phil, Kenneth Benstone, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, thank you. I think I got it. My parents also live in Waterbury, though I won't dare call them seniors because it might get back to them. I agree with candidate DePillo that talk is cheap, which is why over the past 2 years, since the Republicans have been in the minority of the Board of Aldermen, we have submitted alternate budget requests. And in each of those proposals, we actually cut spending. It's not talk, it's a document, it's on a piece of paper. It's savings you could be realizing right now, but you're not. This city just turned in a surplus, which was valued by Mayor earlier, and the majority. A surplus is simply money that was taken out of your pocket that didn't need to be. That year, the Republican minority put forward a budget proposal that would have trimmed the proposed budget by about $3 million, which is almost exactly what the surplus was. So, to explain that simply, we went out, asked us to buy a pizza. We told it would be $15. It turned out it was $12, and we just kept the change. That's not how the budget should be done. I think we need to work harder, get down to the details, and put forward a more honest budget. A budget that takes only the nickel out of your pocket that we need to, and not then pat ourselves on the back for a surplus that was magically found. I don't think there's enough extra money in each and every one of our pockets to budget that way. That's why, as I said, 30 seconds. Thank you. The Republican minority thus far has been able to get into the weeds and look at this budget and figure out exactly how many dollars we need to spend to make this city run. If you put me in the mayor's chair, and put those Republicans in the majority, I can promise you we continue those accounting principles, and your pocketbooks will be better off for it.
Thank you, Kenneth Benstone. And if we can, for the future questions, just hold off on the applause. We can get through more questions. I know I would love to applaud as well at some of these answers. As you can tell, this is going to be a great forum, and I'm sure that the people who couldn't make it tonight are regretting that they aren't here. Please make sure, though, that you share with them the importance of coming out to votes this coming election. The next question I'm going to direct to candidate DePillo first. With a with a plentiful endowment, why isn't Fulton Park always at its peak beauty perpetually, and why do taxpayers have to volunteer in order to clean it up?
Thank you. That's an excellent question. And as one of the volunteers over the last dozen or so years, I've been up there cleaning up Fulton Park. Fulton Park is a gorgeous park. You know, it goes back to when the captains of industry of this city understood that they needed these parks for their families and themselves as well, because transportation back then was by horse and buggy. So we're the beneficiary of all of their foresight in the city. I believe Fulton Park was actually designed by the same designer who did Central Park in New York. Anyways, the reason it's in disrepair is because the city just does not establish a priority for its parks, any more than it establishes a priority for its streets or sidewalks or anything else. Everything in this town is done willy-nilly. A good example, go up to Tom Block. Look at your park and how much in disrepair it is. So the Fulton Park problem goes back to the fact that we have to have workers that know what it is that they need to get accomplished. We need to get those workers up there in bulk to do the work. Now, Mayor O'Leary, what's he doing? He's spending efforts up at a defunct dog park that he's creating up in Scott Road. No authorization from the park department, pulling park personnel away from Fulton Park to be up there. He's doing work in Library Park, having people work on overtime, double, possibly triple time. That's not the way you run a city. Fulton Park is in disrepair because there is no plan to keep it in repair. We had the hot house up there. It was going to be rehabilitated, then it was going to be cut in half, then it was going to be torn down. That's not the way you run a park system. We'll have a priority for each and every one of our parks, and we'll do a much better job, I promise you.
Thank you, candidate Philip.
I will not disagree. Fulton Park is a gem. Every opportunity I have to get out there, whether it's Tool Fest or something that the Overlook Association is putting together, I go. There's not a prettier park in the state as far as I'm concerned. The idea of a priority list is the right one. As a matter of fact, when you get my essay later and you take it home and read it over a cup of coffee, you'll see I mentioned this priority list a number of times. This city, for a number of administrations, this one doesn't just fall on me, has kind of gone around putting out fires as opposed to having a comprehensive list of what needs to be done. Whether it be parks, whether it be buildings, whether it be sidewalks, whether it be streets. We tend to put out fires as opposed to have a comprehensive list, which is the only way to really have that done. To the point about, why do citizens have to get involved? I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I know I live in the Bunker Hill area. We are down there regularly working on Schofield Park, better known as Bunker Hill Park. Not because someone makes us or someone asks us to, just because we think it's the right thing to do. And I think we've done a nice job keeping that up. Does all that responsibility lay on the taxpayer? No. We're already paying a pretty good amount of money to live here. So I don't think we should all be down there with our spades and our rakes every weekend. But I think there's something in that community involvement that is important. And I know that the people I meet down at the park when we're doing our regular cleanup are fine people that I might not have the opportunity to meet otherwise. So I wouldn't necessarily discount getting out and being in the park. But the last thing I think comes down to accountability. We have a number of spaces in this city that need to be taken care of by the Parks Department. And to a degree, we're cut thin. But nonetheless, we need to make sure that each one of our parks gets the attention it deserves. And being that Fulton, I would imagine, is our biggest, and I think one of our most famous, that should clearly be on the top of the priority list each and every day for that department.
Thank you, candidate Van Stone. Candidate O'Leary.
Thank you. If there's one area that I'm particularly proud of, quite frankly, is what we have done with the parks over the last 22 months. As a matter of fact, it was amazed. I was amazed and actually dismayed and devastated to see the condition of the parks in the city of Waterbury. And by the way, it's been generations, at least decades of neglect, and quite frankly, honestly, a lack of leadership and commitment to the park department to ensure that the parks are being kept up. And I have to tell you, I'll take the blame if you want me to, but the truth of the matter is we've done nothing but focus on the parks. As a matter of fact, the Fulton Park project, I worked very closely with the Overlook group to get the PAL children up there for weekend after weekend after weekend after weekend to do all kinds of work up there. They continue to go up there every weekend. We have done amazing things at Fulton Park with the resources, the voluntary resources. I think it's important that children become stakeholders of their neighborhoods. And we have a number of PAL children that live in the Fulton Park area, and that's now their park, working under the direction of Mike Salvio and the Overlook area. As far as the Scott Road Park, that was an abandoned park 40 years ago. And I put re-entry people up there to work up there, to become part of this community. They're here, we might as well take advantage of them. It's not costing us anything. There's no double time, triple time, there's no time. There's a off-duty, light-duty police officer that's injured that is overseeing that. Library Park was a disgrace, and it's a gem, and it's downtown. And we work very, very hard to put resources into Library Park so that we can have festivals and community events there. So it really and truly is all about putting people together and collaborating and doing the right thing, and not just being negative all the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next question here will be directed to candidate Van Stone first. And the Police Athletic League is a good organization. Everyone will agree with that. But to what extent, what cost is the City of Waterbury subsidizing that organization in the form of manpower, police officers, or civilians, in terms of finances, city personnel? They also receive sizable funding through grants and donation. Candidate Van Stone.
I'm searching for the question a little bit, but I've been a proud supporter of PAL. I've backed them financially, I've coached down there, And I would consider that one of the more rewarding things I've ever done. As a basketball coach to some of those at-risk kids who, quite frankly, don't have many male figures in their lives as a role model, I enjoyed every minute I had with those kids. So I will never speak ill of PAL in that sense. I think PAL, on a whole, has made Waterbury better. To the questions of, to what level does the city subsidize it? Well, it clearly does to a degree. We have, we right now, well, Mike and I are from my total, well, I'll get into that in a little bit. But we rent the old St. Lucy's now for the Board of Education for our state streets program there. So there's some money there. There's obviously uniformed police officers that man it. Is that too much? I don't necessarily think it is. I think for the positives that it brings to the city, and the children's lives that it touches each and every year, each and every day, I think each dollar we spend there is worthwhile. Like I said, I think it's been a good program. I'm not going to, there's plenty of things the mayor and I disagree on. I don't necessarily think this is going to be one of them. So I think on the whole, like I said, Waterbury is a better place for PAL. I've always enjoyed my time there. At the current staffing level, the current spending level, I think it's a good thing for Waterbury.
Thank you, Candidate Van Stone. Candidate O'Leary, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I know the question. You're very intelligent people. The PAL program has been one of the brightest lights in this city in the last 10 years. The PAL program services 3,500 children a year. 3,500 of our most challenged children. That's what we ask for, and that's what we get from our school teachers. The PAL program gets subsidized by school teachers who take money out of their paychecks every week, and police officers. The PAL program does get subsidized by the city in the form of rent because the city asked PAL. We didn't ask the city asked PAL to rent our building, and we rented to them extremely cheap. And the return on the investment is this. We run after-school programs in that building 4 out of 5 weekdays. We bus kids from the schools to that program. We pay the teachers. We pay the mentors. We pay the tutors. We pay for it all. And how do we pay for it? Out of the rent money that they pay to use our building during the day. It don't cost you nothing. The return on the investment is that you have the lowest juvenile crime rate in the state of Connecticut. The return on the investment is that for the last 10 years, Waterbury has been noted as a reduction in violent crime. The only city of over 100,000 that has had a 10-year straight reduction in violent crime. The PAL program was nationally recognized in Police Chief Magazine, which is the highest published magazine in the world. And the PAL program is prominently mentioned in the April 2010 edition because of the success that the PAL program has had on the children in the city of Waterbury. And by the way, 3,500 children go through that building each year. And the only cost to you is the police officers, that are the community police officers that are assigned there, and the city chooses to lease the space. What a return on that investment, I'll take it anytime.
Thank you, Mr. Candidate O'Leary.